Conspiraco by Jackson Allen. Read by Jeremiah Jones. Thanks for joining us. Jackson Allen writes science fiction stories, and I'm a voice actor. Quick housekeeping notes before we get started. Please take a moment to like and subscribe so you can hear when we put out new stories. You can purchase an ebook copy of Conspiraco at inkican.com/emergency reality shelter. If you'd like to hire me for voice acting, my Instagram handle is Jeremiah Jones VO. Now that we've got that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy Conspiraco. Your personal investigator will be with you shortly. I handed a stack of dusty manila folders to my party. Take a seat and start looking through these case files. Eager fingers tore through old sheets of paper, reading the details for the evening's analysis. "Do we have to read all of this?" the group asked. "That's up to you," I answered. When it comes to cases like these, the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. "He means yes," her husband announced. "No further instruction is needed." He's speed reading through the history of a centuries-old conspiracy. Lots of work to set up at first. We fed the plot lines of 1,000 movies, 1,000,000 books, into the local AI to generate our stories. AM, that's what we call it, comes up with new ideas every day. So no matter how many times you come back, there's always a new conspiracy to uncover. "Here it is," the other man brightened. "Renegade church dating back to the 1700s. They've held the key to the Fountain of Youth. It really is in Florida. But, unfortunately, only the rich and powerful get to drink it." "Fountain of Youth?" the first man complained. "I did that last time." I smiled. When I started, challenges like these used to throw me. Now I see them as softballs. It's a question you have to ask yourself. Is this the real conspiracy, or just a false flag? Sometimes they put fake news into the record so that when you show up asking questions, they know you're on their tail. "Oh my God, he's right!" the wife squeaked. "Harold, you need to be more careful." Back into the case files, reading more while I make a note to Am to alter the story. It's a busy night. Not only were we open for business, but I also had a new research associate to train, a young kid in his early 20s named Randy, now in the back office. Watch me work through our camera bank. I heard my partner Sheila explaining how things work through my Neuralink audio link. "They'll be pissed if they aren't really looking for something beside the Fountain of Youth," Sheila says. "The CRM isn't perfect. Sometimes it forgets what the clients do. Am doesn't run our customer relationship management system." "Where did the case files come from?" I heard paper shuffling and knew Randy was looking at thick stacks of yellowed paper, text documents heavily redacted, and laser prints of old crime scene photos. "You age them by rubbing them with old coffee," Sheila explained. "You can do the same thing with a hot oven, but coffee is cheaper and faster. Simple but effective. We kill time on slow days making new case packets for clients. Give me a second. I need to get in there." Sheila joined me in the AR cage, where clients spend most of their time. She's been doing this for a few more years than I have, has the game down to a science. My character is the front office guy, the good cop. Sheila stays in the background, the bad cop, a femme fatale with a heart of gold. Both of us are connected to Am's story through our neural links. Just read off the details from our eye-mounted HUDs. Sheila was totally in character that night. "I just found something. They need to see this." "What is it?" "It's easier to understand with the augmented reality system." No further encouragement needed. Our party threw aside their case files, giddy as kids on a field trip. Seconds later, under helmets in our AR cage, they'd step through hours of video footage. Shifty go-betweens, back-alley conversations, late-night phone calls. All carefully crafted to keep the attention while the real conspiracy happens behind their back. "Are they inside?" Sheila asked as I shut the door behind the party. I nodded to Randy. "Yep." "How long are we supposed to keep them there?" I responded, raising my voice so the person on our speakerphone could hear. "How long, Michael?" "Not sure yet. Lots of closets and crawl spaces to look through. Come on, give me a ballpark. 20 minutes? 2 hours? At least 2 hours. One of them's a hoarder. Whole place smells of cat pee. Yeesh. I smiled at Randy, killing the call. Our job sucks, but at least we aren't the real crew, the cops. No kidding, Sheila snorted. I feel bad for those guys, spending their careers sifting through citizens' trash to uncover secret complaints, files, or, God forbid, weapons. If the population ever started really creating a conspiracy, we'd have to sanitize their house, their home. Once, we had to sanitize an entire town. Terrible. How did you end up at Conspiraco? Randy asked, wrapping his sling bag around the chair. Got laid off for the 3rd time. Decided I needed a career pivot. I remember the job description. Work for a private organization, great pay, unusual blend of technical and creative. Good people skills needed. How about you? I've been wanting to join for a while. My uncle was a Conspiraco guy. Used to tell me stories. Sounded like a place where I could, help. I mused. Sheila looked at me and I could tell she was thinking the same thing. Our organization is notoriously closed-mouthed. Nobody talked about the work outside these walls. Your uncle told you about what we do? I mean, sort of. Hinted at it, you might say. Do you think we're helping? Of course, I answered. I get it. People need an outlet for their fear, their frustration. Our king is perfect, they say. I mean, he's not, but he's the best one we've had in 5 or 6 monarchies. Stephen III, a royal bred for the position, literally. Cloned, schooled, trained, reigns with the support of the Artificial Intelligence Administration. 10 years into his reign, no wars, no crime. Everything is calm, quiet. Our country's ready for a few decades of peace after generations of catastrophe. Sheila picks up the thread. Then you have these jokers, the Class Gs. Class G threats are safe enough one-on-one, I continued, but a crowd of them can get ugly. What do you mean? Randy asked. If all they did was get together, complain, and make noise, who cares? Protest all you want, I say. It's a free country. The problem is, Class Gs are natural attention seekers, Sheila added. Protests become riots. Complaints become conspiracies. Ideas become insurrections. Domestic tranquility is dangerous. Someone has to help them. Yeah, but it seems so weird. Helping people by inventing fake conspiracies for them to investigate? It's so crazy. I know. Thought the same thing when I started, I said, watching our group snoop through video files, chattering like happy monkeys. If it's crazy, but it works, it's not crazy. Our mission is saving our clients from themselves. Wait, Randy pointed at one of the clients. That one's having issues. Back in the cage, Harold, the Fountain of Youth guy, had his helmet off. He looked around at the LCD paneled walls, searching for cameras. They can't hear me, but I know you can. Let's talk. Back in the control room, I looked at Sheila. What's he doing? Let him go for a minute. She tapped some keys. Sometimes they're bored, and they try to mess with us. I know this isn't real, Harold continued, flicking the LCD panels and touching the black painted walls. I knew he'd find the cameras in a few minutes. I know you guys are the real conspiracy. Answer me! Randy looked scared. This is messing with us? No, Sheila answered, picking up the phone and punching in some numbers. When someone picked up, she only said 2 words. Treasured guest. Treasured guest? His name's Harold White, Sheila continued. ID G4024509. Michael's still at their house. Needs another couple of hours. He's breaking pattern too early. The session's going to collapse. The other person had a lot to say because Sheila listened for a long time. Then she ended the call saying something that made my stomach drop. "We may have to tag him as a Class T1. I'll keep you posted." "Yikes," I said into the brittle silence. Sheila nodded, watching Harold on screen. What's going on?" Randy asked, his voice now quiet and nervous. I looked at our new coworker. "They covered this in your training, didn't they?" "Class T threats? Yeah, I heard about them. So what?" "Then you need to know the truth. Some people can't be saved. Class Ts are the people that will never get better," Sheila said. "They reject the controlled environment. 40 years of research means we can weed out most of these jokers, 93% if you want an actual number. The other 7% graduate to Threat Class T1. Shortens lifespans down to a few weeks or months in some cases," I nodded to the screen. "Watch it, something else is happening." Through the cameras, we watched Harold's wife pull her headset off. "Harold, where did you go? Get back here, this is important." We breathed sighs of relief as Harold reluctantly pulled his AR goggles back on. Minutes later, he carefully inspected a clue. The data suggested the Illuminati were behind the Fountain of Youth conspiracy. As far as we could tell, Harold had engaged with the case again. Sheila's chair creaked as she leaned back. "That was interesting." "Will he be okay?" Randy wanted to know. "No, I don't know. Let's keep watching." "What's treasured guest mean?" "Something from Disney World," I said. "Alerts other employees about unruly guests without telling everyone else what's going on." "And we use it too?" "Sure, why not? Everything about Conspiraco is about maintaining the illusion. Nobody does that better than Disney." "I hope we don't have to tag him," I said. "That'd ruin my whole week." "I know," Sheila replied. "It's been a couple of years for me." "Is it true?" Randy asked. "They just disappear the guy?" I frowned at our new teammate. A few seconds ago, he didn't know anything about Class Ts. Now he knew they get disappeared? I wondered if Sheila had the same questions. Sheila sipped from a hot mug of herbal tea, remaining calm as always. "It's a process," she began. "First, they start looking into the guy." "That's what Michael's doing right now?" "Yeah. Plus, Michael's team will hide some evidence in the house for the cops to find later. Subversive material, drugs, stuff to make bombs. Hides it so well, some clients go the rest of their lives and they never find it." "And then they go find it? Arrest and detain?" Sheila nodded. "Something like that. Hate to do it, but some of them you just can't reach. T1s see a line. They have to cross it." "Even if the line is everything's fine, go enjoy your life?" "Exactly. Just how they're wired." "So they kill them?" I made a face. "Oh, they'll live, if you want to call that living." "What happens?" I shrugged. No point in hiding the truth from him. Warm bodies for the Mars workforce. Candidates for the brain bucket. No murder, no problem. "Another zombie for the Neuralink prison?" Randy shuddered. I didn't have to tell him what we all knew. Prisoners don't go into jail cells. Nowadays, they were comatose residents on our floating neurocybernetic tuple processing ships. Months, years, even the rest of your life sedated in a dream state. Your brain functions supporting the global wetware computing network. Randy echoed my opinion of that fate, saying, "Dude, just kill me." "Let's hope it doesn't come to that," I said, watching Harold on the monitor, the top half of his head hidden by the VR/AR helmet. He remained there until the end of the session. Michael called us 2 hours later announcing, "I got everything photographed. The pumpkin is in place." "Good," Sheila said. "Time to let these sheep out of the pen." I spoke to our clients in the AR cage. "Folks, we need to end our session. You can come back next week. The evidence will still be here." Sheila was waiting for Harold as our clients returned to the lobby. "I'm glad you all enjoyed the work tonight. We need all the help we can get for these old cold cases," she told the group. Then she looked at Harold. Can I borrow you for a moment before you leave?
Yes, of course.
Harold's eyes turned apprehensive. Now he knew we were watching him. What were we going to do? Truth was, I didn't know either. Sheila knew something I didn't, beckoning both of us to follow into the client debrief room. We understand you had your helmet off during the AR session. Sheila closed the door and sat at the table across from our client. Did you have a concern or question?
Well, no,
Harold tugged at his collar.
I guess I was just curious.
About what?
About, how real Universal Investigations is. Like, it's almost too easy. Every month a new investigation?
You'd be surprised how easy police work is sometimes. Simple routine and procedure. That's why we need your help. Crowdsourcing investigations, closing out files, keeps the kingdom safe and happy for everyone.
Sometimes I just wonder, though.
I understand. Sheila made a note. If these low-level cases aren't challenging enough, we can always bump you up to a grade 2 or 3. In fact, there's a new undercover investigation starting. It's directly related to Universal Investigations.
Oh, really?
Harold brightened.
What's that?
I can't give you all the details right now. For all we know, Sheila gave a dramatic pause. You might be one of them.
One of who?
Harold can't contain his excitement. We have reason to believe there's a mole in the operation, Sheila continues. Someone who wants to sabotage our work you're doing here. With your help, we can uncover that person. Harold's flabby chin straightens and he sits bolt upright in the cheap office chair.
Oh, I'd be glad to help,
he says.
You've got my number. Let me know when we can meet, and I'll be there.
Sheila pointed to me. You'll work with Paul here. I'll be in touch after your profile's completely vetted.
Thank you.
Harold's eyes were bright, shining stars.
Oh, thank you. I've always wanted to help you guys out like this.
Sheila's smile was calm, professional. I'm certain I don't have to tell you how important all of this stays. Confidential?
Of course, of course.
Harold's tubby frame vibrated with nervous energy, leaving the room to preen like a rooster in front of his friends as they headed off into the night. Back to their homes, back to their lives. One of them carried a secret, a conspiracy within the conspiracy. Nice work, I said, locking the door behind our guest. Did Anne tell you to do that? No, Michael did, Sheila answered, her eyes on Randy and the pistol in his hand. What's that for? Something you want to tell us? I jumped. Randy pulled a small automatic from his sling bag when I wasn't looking. He now pointed the pistol at us, eyes as flat and cold as a rattlesnake.
Nope. Keep your hand where I can see him. You're proud of yourself?
It's not about pride, Sheila answered, keeping her voice level. It's about keeping people safe.
Safe from who? Only danger around here is you.
It might seem that way, I said. This is an unhappy solution to a persistent problem.
They're innocent. All they want to know is the truth.
They don't like the truth when they hear it, Sheila shot back. You saw what happened in the previous empire. We can't burn the house down every time someone smells smoke. Every person we sanitize keeps 1 million more people safe.
Keep telling yourself that. A life is still a life. We're gonna save them.
You're holding a gun and talking about saving lives.
Not so funny when it's happening to you, is it?
Sheila shook her head. You're 100 years too late, Randy. Look around you. Nobody's being forced to be here. They want some adventure, and we give that to them.
The tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants, Randy quoted. That is from Thomas Jefferson.
That's from the old empire, I reply. Look at how that ended.
Nobody gets to fight. Nobody gets to prove they love this country.
You love something when you live for it, not by killing yourself, Sheila said. I had to admire her, trying to be the voice of reason with a gun in her face. It's like raising children. It's not all Kodak moments. Love means doing the boring stuff every day. We've got 100 years of peace because of that love. Don't throw it away. You want adventure? I pointed to the sky.
Mars needs new settlers.
I know what you mean by that, Randy scoffed. I knew this was a one-way trip when I started. We're rescuing these people. First, I get all of your files. Then the justice will start with you.
I hate to say it. Now Sheila's voice turned as flat as Randy's eyes. But you aren't leaving me with a lot of options here.
Who said I was here to give you an option?
Randy thumbed the safety on his pistol.
I'm here for justice.
Sheila smiled. You want justice? We can start right now. Everything happened so fast. First, I heard the faint buzz of the neural disruptor field. Then the gray industrial carpet came up to smack me in the face. The anti-violence technology inhibits your motor functions. Each of us collapse, marionettes with our strings cut. I don't know if you've been hit with a neural disruptor. It takes the cerebral cortex a few moments to recover from the total loss of control. I watched, helpless, as Michael and the recovery team kicked the door open to pounce on Randy's inert form. By the time I could move, our dangerous ex-coworker was in handcuffs. I sat up, feeling lightheaded.
Phew.
Eventually, my tongue started working, letting me tell Sheila, "Nice work." He said, "Keep your hands where I can see them." Sheila shook her head, dizzy from the disruptor. Didn't say anything about my Neuralink. And you used it to call for help. I wheezed, pulling myself to my feet. Emergency office protocol. Supposed to be for robbers or active shooters, Sheila said. Worked like a charm on old Randy. Speaking of which, I watched Randy, our former coworker, scream threats at Michael and the recovery team. "This isn't over! Our time will come!" "No," Sheila said. "Your time has been over for 200 years. We'll get our justice when the war starts. You'll be first up against the wall." "You're a Class Y." Michael tapped Randy on the head with the muzzle of his pistol. The young man shuddered again. He'd taken the training. He knew about Class Y. "The only war here is in your head, bud. You want somebody to fight? I got a nice brain bucket for you. Give you all the war you want." Randy's rage faded to a mumble as the drugs kicked in. We stood there for a long time after the door closed. I tried to think of something happy to drown out the memory of Randy going into the van, wrapped and hooded, for a one-way trip to the processing ships. Camping? Backpacking? The sound of water on stone, wind in the trees would be nice. It would distract me from the memory of this angry young man and the thousands of others in prison to keep the rest of us free. So, now what? I asked Sheila as I stumbled towards my car. "We start over again tomorrow," my partner answered. "Was Randy working alone, or was he part of an insurrection cell?" "I thought that was just a story for Harold." "Like they say, the truth is out there." Thanks for listening. Once again, if you like what you hear, please take a moment to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hear when we put out new stories. You can purchase an ebook copy of Conspiraco at inkican.com/emergency reality shelter. If you'd like to hire me for voice acting, my Instagram handle is JeremiahJonesVO. Jackson and I appreciate you joining us. We'll see you down the road.